If you ever find a live stream with no chat, no title, and a timer counting down, close it. I didn't. And now, whoever's behind that camera knows who I am. I'm not telling you this for cheap shock value. This isn't a Nosleep fiction post you'll scroll past and forget by morning. If you're watching this, there's still time to disconnect. Maybe. But you have to listen, and you have to listen fast. It started as boredom, the kind that feels like static humming in your skull. A midnight of too many open tabs and no real reason to be awake. I was chasing dead-end links like candy wrappers in the dark, old Reddit threads, half-broken torrent indexes, pages buried so deep in the search results they probably hadn't been touched since dial-up. That's when I saw it. A link with no preview, no description, just a gray rectangle where a thumbnail should have been, and a single word in lowercase letters, live. I clicked. The page loaded instantly. No buffering, no ads. Black screen. In the center, a white digital timer counting down from 10 hours, no sound. No chat window. No streaming since indicator. Nothing but that relentless, silent clock. I hovered the cursor over the screen, waiting for something, an ad, a glitch, anything. But the timer kept sliding down, each second blinking out with the precision of a heartbeat. 9:57, 9:56. At first I laughed. Some underground ARG, I thought. People still make those, right? But then I heard a sound behind me, not from the speakers. From my apartment, a soft, deliberate tap. Like a fingertip on glass, I whipped around. My window was shut. Empty streetlight glow outside. When I turned back to the monitor, the timer had skipped. 7 minutes. Just like that, and then the chat box appeared. Except it wasn't a chat box. Just a single black bar that filled with text, letter by letter. Hello, my real name. My stomach dropped. I never gave it. Not here, not anywhere on this burner laptop. My mother's voice, 5 years dead, whispered my name again from the speakers. Low enough I almost thought I'd imagined it. If you're watching this, there's still time to disconnect. I'm begging you. Because I didn't. I sat there frozen. As the final seconds bled away, I wouldn't have believed it either. Until the timer hit 0 and the camera turned toward me. Past midnight is a dangerous hour for the bored. Your brain starts scavenging for anything, noise, novelty, the next tiny spark to keep you from noticing how alone you are. I'd already scrolled through every feed I cared about, every half-dead group chat, and I wasn't even tired. Just restless like static humming behind my eyes. So I went deeper. I bounced from one forgotten corner of the web to the next, abandoned LiveJournal blogs, half-broken fan sites, dusty Reddit threads with last comments from a decade ago. It felt like walking through a ghost mall at night. Fluorescent memories still buzzing, but no one left to shop. Eventually I slipped into a Discord I hadn't opened in months, an old gaming server from college. 2 people still idled there, names grayed out. I typed a lazy "anybody alive?" expecting silence. To my surprise, a user named LagSwitch replied almost instantly, "Always. Insomnia bros forever." I laughed because it was the kind of half-joke we used to make at 3 a.m. when raids went long and pizza boxes stacked like monuments to bad decisions. We traded a few quick messages, griping about work, complaining about updates that broke old mods. The normal, comfortable banter of people who share no life except the digital kind. Then, out of nowhere, LagSwitch sent a single line. "If you're bored, check this out." Below it, a link. No preview. No text. Just a plain onion URL, the kind that usually leads to sketchy marketplaces or dead ends. I hovered over it, expecting at least a warning from my browser. Nothing. Is it safe? I typed, lol. Define safe. A beat later, it's live now. No chat. I rolled my eyes. Probably some glitchy campsite or a trollish ARG. Still, I copied the link into a burner browser, mostly out of curiosity. The tab opened too. Nothing. A blank white title bar. But as I stared, the favicon, normally the tiny icon next to a site's name, began to shift. At first, it was a simple gray dot. Then it pulsed. Not an animation, not a GIF, more like a slow, organic heartbeat. I hovered my cursor over the tab. Still no metadata, no source info, no page description. It wasn't even password protected. I whispered to no one, almost like it wanted me to find it. The Discord pinged again. Lag switch. Well, you in? I hesitated. If I'd closed the tab right then, maybe none of this would have happened. Maybe everything that followed, the countdown, the voice, the camera, would have stayed buried in that quiet corner of the dark web. But boredom is a hungry thing, and something about that pulsing gray dot felt like it was breathing, waiting for me to click. So I did. The page blinked once, like an eye-opening. Black screen. A single blinking timer appeared in stark white text, and beneath it, in letters that seemed to glow with their own dim light, camera will go live at 3:33. When the timer hit 3:33, the screen didn't flash or load a player, it just changed. The black melted into a grainy gray like an ancient VHS finally deciding to play. At first there was only a dim, pulsing light, like a single fluorescent bulb on its last breath. The camera held still for a moment, letting my eyes adjust to the gloom. It was a room, a plain, windowless room. Concrete walls stained the color of damp paper. Shelves lined every side, each crammed with VHS tapes that had no labels, just matte black spines reflecting the sickly light. I leaned closer, squinting. The feed was low-res, full of digital snow, but the frame itself, it tugged at something. The arrangement of shelves, the single dangling bulb, it was both completely generic and, somehow, uncomfortably familiar. Like a dream you can't remember until you're already inside it. A low mechanical hum bled through my speakers. Not a computer fan. Deeper, slower, like machinery turning somewhere far underground. The camera began to move. Not a quick swing like someone picking up a phone. A slow, deliberate pan to the right, so smooth it made my skin crawl. There was no operator in view. Just the slow glide of the lens, as if the room itself had decided it was time I saw more. A faint static hiss came next. I thought it was background noise until it formed shapes, whispers, too soft to catch at first, like words mouthed behind a wall. I turned the volume up until it hissed in my ears. That's when I heard it. My childhood nickname. Not the one you'd find in any profile or dusty yearbook. The one only my mother used and only when no one else was around. My heart punched my ribs. She's been gone for years. The whisper came again, clearer, closer. Nickname. I shot upright, knocking my chair against the desk. On instinct, I clicked the live chat button, even though there hadn't been one before. Suddenly it was there, a single narrow bar at the bottom of the feed. I typed, "Who is this?" For a full 10 seconds, nothing. Then a single line appeared, "You shouldn't be here." My mouth went dry. I typed back before I could stop myself. "Then why send me the link?" The cursor blinked. No reply. I flicked over to Discord. Lag switch was offline. No green dot, no last seen, just blank. The hum deepened. The bulb flickered hard enough that the whole room strobed in slow motion. Each flash made the tapes on the walls seem to lean, their black spines bending toward the lens. The whispers layered over each other now, fragments of sentences, names I half recognized and half imagined. My own name, my real name, surfaced like a bubble in mud, then sank back into static. I reached for the power button on my monitor. Before I could touch it, the camera jerked. Not the patient. Smooth glide from before, this was sudden, violent. For a heartbeat, the screen blurred in a smear of gray, and when it settled, my breath caught. The lens was facing a different room. My living room, same sagging couch, same crooked picture frame I keep meaning to fix, and in the grainy black and white feed, my own front door slowly, soundlessly, began to open. At first I thought the camera feed had simply turned toward my apartment, but something was off. The walls were the same color, yes, but the texture looked subtly wrong. like the feed was showing a rehearsal of my living room, not the real thing. The couch sagged in the same lopsided way. The crooked picture frame tilted at the same ridiculous angle I kept promising to fix. But the edges of everything looked softer, as if drawn from memory and left unfinished. I leaned closer, every muscle in my back tight. Then I saw the mug, my blue coffee mug, chipped on the rim from when I dropped it last winter, the one I was drinking from barely an hour ago. It sat on the feed's coffee table, haloed in static snow. My stomach lurched. I glanced at my own table. The mug was still there, right where I'd left it. I swallowed hard and turned back to the screen. The chat bar flickered to life. Nice mug. Blue suits you. My heart skipped. I hadn't typed a word. My fingers hovered over the keys, useless. I tried to rationalize. Maybe it was a trick, camera overlay, some weird augmented reality filter, but I hadn't given the site camera permissions. And the mug, both mugs, were identical down to the crack shaped like a lightning bolt. Another object appeared in the feed, the old concert poster from my hallway, the one I'd brought home from college. Its corners curled the same way they did in the real world, held by the same fading tape. I twisted in my chair to check. The poster still. The feed now displayed a single flickering bulb above the coffee table, exactly like the dying overhead light in my kitchen. The detail was impossible. Even the faint water stain on the ceiling had been copied. You decorate like your mother. The whisper wasn't in chat this time. It came from my speakers, low, intimate, almost affectionate. I spun around. My apartment was silent except for the hum of the fridge. My mother's voice, 5 years gone, echoed softly from the static. Just like me, my knees pressed against the desk. I wanted to shut the browser, yank the plug from the wall, do something, but I couldn't move. On the screen, the camera panned again, slow and steady, revealing more of the room that shouldn't exist. Now it showed the bookshelf in my bedroom, my bookshelf, even the worn spine of the first novel I ever loved, leaning at the same angle I'd left it. I scraped my chair back, the sound harsh and real. My eyes darted to the actual bookshelf in the other room, still there. I turned back just as the chat flickered. Don't look away. My pulse thundered. I forced my fingers to the keyboard. Who are you? No answer. Instead, the entire feed darkened. The fluorescent bulb winked out, and for a heartbeat I saw only black. Then a new glow bled across the screen, another timer, bright and merciless. 60 seconds, and counting down. That's when I realized the stream wasn't showing some stranger's room. It was building mine. Each number blinked like a warning. 59, 58. I finally slammed the laptop lid shut, but the faint glow of the countdown bled through the cracks of the screen like moonlight through a locked door. The timer on the stream had reset, this time counting down from 60 seconds. The timer bled white light across the dark room. 60, 59, 58. Each digit blinked like the second hand of a doomsday clock. My laptop fan whined. I reached for the lid again. If I could just close it, shut everything down. But the instant my fingers touched the edge, the chat box flared to life. Unknown01. Don't let it finish. Another message scrolled up a heartbeat later. Unknowns02. It knows you now. Leave or it crosses over. My pulse spiked. I typed, fingers trembling. Who are you? No response, just the blinking of their cursors, like someone holding their breath on the other side of the screen. The lights in my apartment flickered, once, twice, perfectly in sync with the countdown. 52. The bulb above my kitchen hissed, strobing the room in short bursts of white and shadow. I backed away from the desk. That's when I saw it. The tiny green LED on my webcam, lit. I hadn't turned it on. I jabbed the keyboard to kill the feed. Nothing. Tried the trackpad. Still nothing. The cursor froze in the middle of the screen as if pinned there. Unknown, Uru 1. It's watching you. Unknown, Uru 2. You have to disconnect, physically. I yanked the Ethernet cable. The countdown kept ticking. 46, no, I whispered. That's not possible. A distorted voice seeped from my speakers like an echo filtered through broken glass. You. It was my voice, not a recording I recognized live. I stumbled back, heart hammering. Stop! I shouted, as if that might matter. The echo replied, pitched half an octave lower. Stop. I slammed the browser's close button. The window froze, then multiplied. 2 identical tabs, 4, 8, each one showing the same shrinking timer. D39. I tried the power button. The screen went black for a single heartbeat. Then the stream reappeared, brighter, sharper, as though the monitor itself had become the broadcast. Unknown Darjo 1. It's inside the circuit. Smash the machine if you have to. My hand twitched toward the plug, but the distorted echo of my own voice hissed through the speakers again, longer this time, forming words. Don't. Run. Stay. The chat scrolled faster now, messages overlapping. Unknown 02. Leave. Now. Unknown 03. Too late. My kitchen lights cut out completely. Only the pale glow of the timer remained, painting my walls in shifting white. 24. I lunged for the power strip and yanked the plug from the wall. Darkness swallowed everything, except the screen. It stayed on. I could see my own reflection in the glass, faint and ghost-like. The webcam LED burned a steady green. Unknown 01. It's not the computer. It's you. The distorted voice rose, layered and warping until it sounded like a chorus of me. Count. 15, 14, 13. Panic shot through me. I grabbed the laptop, ready to smash it. Then a final line of chat appeared. So bright it seared my vision. Unknown 02. When it reaches 10, it won't be the stream waiting. It will be you. My stomach dropped. I suddenly understood. The stream wasn't counting down to an event. It was counting down to a contact, to me. 10. The whispers became one continuous roar, my own voice, stretched and broken, calling my name over and over. 8. 7. I raised the laptop over my head. 5. The timer flared so bright it painted every corner of the room in cold white fire. 3. Screamed and brought the laptop down. But before it struck the floor, 1. The screen shifted. The grainy feed vanished, and staring back at me, full screen, was me. My webcam feed had replaced the stream. At first I thought it was just the glare, some artifact of the shattered pixels. My own face stared back at me from the laptop screen, pale and trembling, the webcam's tiny green eye burning steady. Then the static thickened. Tiny white fractures bled across the image like frost spreading on glass. Behind my reflection, the room blurred to a smoky haze. Something else was there. I leaned in, my breath fogging the screen. A shape, tall, featureless, coalesced in the digital snow. Not quite a shadow, not quite a person. The edges writhed, jittering like a corrupted video file. I whipped around. Nothing, just my apartment, the sagging couch, the unwashed dishes, the dark hallway, but on screen. It moved closer. I felt the blood drain from my face. My on-screen self sat frozen, wide-eyed, as the blurred figure slid nearer with each flicker of static. Who's there? My own voice sounded paper-thin. The laptop speakers crackled. Don't pretend. The words seeped through like a half-tuned frequency, my private thoughts carved into sound. You still check her profile. You still regret. My chest tightened. No one knew that. Not even my closest friends. The figure twitched again. Its outline sharpened just enough to hint at limbs, had a head cocked slightly to one side as if listening. I snatched my phone, opened the camera, aimed it at the room behind me. The screen showed only empty space, but my laptop, the thing was now directly behind my seated reflection, close enough that if it breathed, I'd feel it on my neck. The password, you never changed it. The whisper turned into a low mechanical hum. words dissolving into a rhythm that matched my heartbeat. I spun around again, desperate for any proof I wasn't losing my mind. The room remained stubbornly, horribly normal. I reached toward the webcam, half expecting to touch the cold skin of something that wasn't there. The figure lifted its head. Even through the static, I saw a suggestion of a face, features blurred like wet charcoal. Where eyes should have been, 2 pinpoints of white blinked in perfect time with the webcam's green LED. My breath caught. "Don't turn away now," it was my voice. Whispering my own secrets back to me, I shoved the chair back so fast it toppled. The crash echoed like a gunshot, but the thing on screen didn't flinch. Instead, it raised one indistinct hand and pressed it against the inside of the monitor. The pixels beneath its palm warped and bled outward. A ripple of light and static. The glass of the screen began to bow just slightly, like something pressing from the other side. I stumbled backward until my shoulders hit the wall. On the laptop, my reflection trembled. The figure loomed over it, arm outstretched, its static-laced fingers extending toward the camera, not toward the camera, but through it. The hum deepened until it was no longer sound but pressure, a heavy, throbbing weight in the center of my chest. Every glass in the apartment rattled. My phone lit up, flickered, then went dark with a soft electronic sigh. The overhead bulb burst in a snap of blue-white light. Hot shards of glass rained across the carpet. I flinched, shielding my face. When I lowered my arm, the room was swallowed by a pulsing darkness, lit only by the cold glow of the laptop. On screen, the figure's hand pressed harder against the inside of the monitor. The glass bowed outward like the skin of a drum. Pixels bled from its palm, dripping downward in jagged trails of light that fizzled out before hitting the desk. I staggered forward and yanked the power cord. Nothing. The screen stayed alive, the green webcam LED burning brighter. "Too bright, like a tiny sun. Shut off!" I hissed, ripping the plug from the wall. The laptop kept humming. The fan roared like a jet engine. "Door!" The voice vibrated through the speakers, through the floorboards, through my ribs. Not a stream, a door. A pixelated fingertip punched through the glass. Not shattering it, no sound of breaking, just passing, the way smoke slides through air. The tip was both light and matter, static woven into flesh. It shimmered like a TV screen caught in a thunderstorm. I backed into the wall. The thing's entire hand followed, a blur of gray noise and pale, half-formed knuckles. The air around it hissed, carrying the burnt plastic stench of overheated circuitry. I grabbed the laptop, desperate, and slammed it shut. The hinges groaned. The lid clamped. The hum did not stop. A bright seam of white static glowed between the closed lid and the keyboard, like light leaking from a furnace. I held it shut with both hands. It burned, icy and hot at once, like pressing my palms against dry ice. The humming climbed to a frequency I felt in my teeth. Too late. The whisper now came from everywhere, behind me, inside me, rattling the air like a bass note no human throat could reach. Every device I owned answered in chorus. The TV in the next room snapped on, flashing nothing but a black screen with a blinking cursor. The microwave door clicked open. My router lights pulsed in a frantic, unreadable pattern. "Tonight, you learn." I dropped the laptop. It landed with a dull thud, the lid springing open like a startled jaw. The figure's arm, now elbow deep, hung in midair. The pixels at its edges fluttered like torn paper in wind. I lunged for the breaker box by the door. My fingers fumbled across the cold metal switch. I yanked it down. Darkness swallowed the apartment, total black. Except, the laptop still glowed, its screen burned white. A single silhouette standing in the center. The blurred figure, now halfway through, shoulders sloping into my world. The hum became a roar. Servers are doors. I grabbed a heavy candle holder and hurled it. The laptop flew from the desk, hit the wall, and crashed to the floor in a spray of sparks, still on. The screen tilted toward me like an eye. I could see the figure's torso now, static skin crawling with faint, unreadable symbols. Like corrupted code etched into muscle, it raised its head. Two pale points of light pierced through the blur. Eyes, if eyes could be made of television snow. I choked on the smell of ozone and burning wires. Your turn. It leaned forward, pixels unraveled from its outline, drifting like ash. Each one that touched the floor hissed and vanished, leaving tiny scorch marks on the carpet. The apartment walls vibrated. I felt the plaster crack beneath my palm. Doorway open. I backed toward the hallway, heart hammering, every step swallowed by the low, endless drone. The figure bent its head, slowly, deliberately, and whispered, "Your address?" It spoke it perfectly, street name, apartment number, the sound of my own life, recited in a voice that had never belonged to me, and then everything went black. When the lights finally flickered back to life, dawn had already bruised the sky a grayish pink. I woke on the floor, cheek pressed against the carpet, the taste of copper at the back of my throat. For a long time I didn't move. My apartment was wrong, not wrecked, not vandalized, just off, as though someone had walked through while I was unconscious and rearranged the world by half an inch. The couch faced the opposite wall. My framed poster of The Thing, the one I'd centered perfectly months ago, now hung crooked and 2 inches lower. The photo of my sister and me at the boardwalk, gone. The nail was still there, a pale square on the paint where the frame should have been. I whispered her name, but the sound felt foreign. The laptop lay in the corner where I'd hurled it. The casing was dented, screen spider-webbed, but still glowing with a soft white light like a heartbeat under ice. Against every instinct, I touched the trackpad. The crack in the glass distorted the cursor into a jagged smear. A browser window filled the screen, my own face frozen in a grainy replay of last night. I watched myself sitting at the desk, eyes wide with the same fear that still vibrated in my chest. Behind the recorded me stood it, the figure. Static cloaked, unmoving, blurred like a corrupted file. It stayed there, perpetually leaning toward the back of my own frozen shoulder, its pixel eyes locked on the camera. I scrubbed through the timeline. No matter the hour, no matter the frame, the figure remained. Even when the replay reached the moment everything went black, the silhouette lingered, patient and still, as if it had been there long before I arrived. I slammed the laptop shut. The glow leaked through the seam, the hinge pulsing once, twice, like a slow heartbeat, needing proof of the night's sanity or insanity. I opened Discord on my phone. No messages, no server history, no record that I'd ever spoken to anyone. My username, years old with inside jokes and saved chats, wasn't just offline. It was gone. I texted my closest friend. "Did you see me on last night?" Their reply came quick. "Who is this?" My throat tightened. I tried another friend. Same confusion. Numbers I knew by heart rang like I was a stranger. Maybe this is what passes for surviving, being haunted by your own replay. I laughed then, a dry, cracked sound. It didn't even feel like it belonged to me. From the bedroom, a soft chime pinged from my desktop PC. I hadn't turned it on. I stepped into the doorway. The monitor glowed with a single browser window, a live stream. No title, no chat. Just a countdown. Blinking, 03:33 already ticking down. I backed away, heart pounding. "You're still here, listening. Good. That means there's still time. For you, maybe. Check your open tabs. Look at the corner of your browser. If you see a window labeled live, close it. If you still can. Because the stream is still live as I record this, and the figure is still standing behind someone. Maybe this time, it's you." By noon the city hummed like it always does. Garbage trucks groaning, pigeons scuffling over crusts, the neighbor's kid thudding a basketball against the asphalt. Sunlight slanted across my blinds, ordinary and warm. If you'd walked past my window, you'd think nothing had happened, but you'd be wrong. There's a faint buzz under everything now, a frequency I can't unhear. It hides beneath the sound of traffic and refrigerators and my own heartbeat. And every time I open a new browser tab, I hesitate. I used to laugh at those late-night threads about phantom streams or haunted servers. Now I know better. Last night wasn't a story, it was an invitation. My email inbox proves it. Between grocery coupons and spam, there's always one message I can't quite delete. No subject line, no sender. Just a timestamp, 0333. The body of the email is blank until I hover the cursor. Then a single phrase appears, faint gray on white. Watch with me. Sometimes the text vanishes before I can screenshot it, as if the message is waiting for me to slip. Maybe you think you're safe. Maybe you've convinced yourself that whatever crossed into my room last night can't cross into yours. I used to think that too. But if you're still watching this video, if you've listened this far, you're already closer than you realize. Check your notifications. Has a tab opened on its own? Did your phone's camera light flicker just once? Did you hear a soft ping that nobody else seemed to notice? These things start small. A stutter in the Wi-Fi. A glitch in a photo you swore you never took. That's how it begins. I'm not telling you this to scare you, though maybe you should be scared. I'm telling you because if it wants you, it will find you. And the only question left will be, do you click first, or does it? If you see a midnight email titled "Watch with me," don't click. Or maybe, do I need the next viewer?